Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all could be with us today. Going to connect with our friends over on Instagram so they can be a part of our chat. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. Just had a great conversation before this conversation with our next guest. So I'm excited for you guys to be able to learn not only about him, but also about his debut novel as well. And we're now live on the Amazon Live platform with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, I'm going to type you guys in a welcome message over there. Glad you all could be with us. You also make sure you guys hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the debut novel by our next guest. Excited to welcome Ken Miller to our broadcast today. He's known in the world of finance, but now with his debut novel called High Finance, you guys can see there, both in print and in Kindle, you will be able to see not only how he's able to share that world with the rest of us, but also an interesting character named Jed. We're going to talk to him about that and what it's like for him to be able to see his transformation. If you guys are just now finding out about Ken and his book, we'll let you know at the end of our segment how you can stay connected with him. But Ken, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Well, Cyrus, thanks for having me. It's great to meet you, and I'm a big admirer of what you've achieved over a
Thank
long
you.
period of time.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I love this book, and I'm so glad I got a chance to read it. I read the book at the end of last year, Ken, so I'm so excited for our audience to be able to kick off this year, adding it to their reading list. High Finance is a book, I hear authors talk about all the time, Ken, to write what you know. You definitely know the world of finance. So, what was it like for you to fictionalize it and put it in this book?
Well, it was great fun. I mean, the process of creative writing is a gas for me. I always wanted to be a novelist. It was kind of a secret ambition,
Hmm.
but I had to go make a living, and I I got to Wall Street late because of some earlier alternative paths I'd taken.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know I was mentally taking notes on people's traits and facets and aspects. And but I have always been writing short stories that I never published.
Hmm.
And as the stories kind of melded together into what became a novel, uh, it became. And there's a whole difference, Cyrus, between writing and publishing. I
Yeah.
loved the writing. The publishing part was, I mean, I know how to market. I was a salesman from an early, in my before I was a teenager.
Hmm.
But getting a book published was a big deal for me, and it feels really good.
Yeah. It's to pick up on what you just said, Ken. I think what is so interesting about high finance that I really enjoyed, and I think our audience will as well, is that you're able to, as you said, that you are, it sounds like you're a people person, someone who observed people as well as things. We see that with the main character Jed in this book as well, who's also someone who's observant. Is kind of able to read the room, but also to be able to have aspirations for himself. How did Jed come to you? How did the main character kinda come to life for you?
Uh, I knew a number of characters on Wall Street, and most of them were honest and hardworking and ambitious and smart. They'd gone to good schools, blah blah blah. But there were some that had villainous tendencies, and
Mhm,
Jed is a guy who I won't say you love to hate because he's not thoroughly despicable. He's just mainly dislikable.
yeah,
He trades on inside information. He cheats on his wife, and he smokes massive amounts of marijuana and drinks Stolichnaya when when uh, when THC was illegal, when cannabis was illegal. And it just came to me that he would be a fun character to build a novel around because during a
yeah,
period when I was on Wall Street, there were a lot of folks who were busted for trading on inside information. And
right,
even though the Lehman collapse had been heavily worked, I just thought I had a few insights from those years at the top of the heap on Wall Street
mhm,
that would be interesting to readers. And Jed would be a good vehicle for carrying that load.
Yeah. And I think too, for us as readers, and I think for especially people who are interested, who kind of may watch the news, Ken, or have heard about, especially when it comes to trading and, and capitalism. This is a book that I think they'll be interested in, even though it's a novel. I think it's a world that we've kind of become, enamored with, right? Because there are people who will look at Jed, as you mentioned, as you said, there are some people who would love to hate him, but also uh, quite honestly, there are a lot of people who would love to be him because of what he's able to achieve, right? And seemingly be able to navigate. Was part of the fun for you as well, taking us back to an interesting time in our history, Ken, and kind of showing us, not only the role of capitalism, but also how money really does touch all areas of life.
Yeah, no, it does touch all areas of life, but I want to make sure that your viewers don't think this is like a textbook or something that is aimed at teaching them. It's not.
Right,
I'm not
right,
trying to be didactic. It's supposed to be a
right,
fun read.
right.
Here's a guy who, yeah, he's a master of the universe, but he's got one fatal flaw, like so many people in the Greek tragedies. He cannot get enough Lehman shares.
Hmm.
So the presumption is that every reader knows that Lehman came to a bad end. And here you see this really smart guy living in a like huge duplex on Park Avenue
Hmm.
and putting his life savings and more borrowed money into Lehman shares. So the fun of it is watching what happens to him as he gets richer and richer and richer
Yeah,
and heads towards the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers.
yeah. When you were just talking, Ken, and this always happens because I was saying to you before we went live here that sometimes, I'll have an idea in mind of how the conversation is going to go, but that sometimes a guest like yourself will say something and it remind me of something else in the book. One thing that was funny, I thought, in the book, and we won't give a lot of context, but you'll know what I'm talking about, is Jed realizes how out of touch he's become, and even things like hearing sayings like living within one's means, not even understanding what that, what that even means anymore, or that there are the idea of limitations. How much fun was that for you to play with? That a lot of times when we are going after anything, right, sometimes we can lose sight of the things that really do matter.
Well, thank God I'm married to a woman with great values, and she keeps me tied to those values.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I think you, particularly when you're around folks and the whole purpose is to make money for the firm, and ultimately it comes back to you through a bonus, you start to live in a world where money is, they say time is money,
Yeah.
but money gets quite disconnected from time because you're making so much of it.
Yeah.
On Wall Street, in fact, I just wrote an article about this for The Economist that basically predicts the next crash. But it's because of the Wall Street bonus system in part and the radical deregulation of this current Washington administration. But the the bonus system pays people large multiples of their base. Most of America doesn't qualify for a bonus, and if they do, it's usually a modest percentage of their base. But on Wall Street, it could be 2, 3, 4, 10 times the draw. And even when I was on the street, those draws were in the couple 100,000 or more.
Right.
So there's huge incentive to make money at all cost and lose track of what's important in life,
Yeah.
which isn't money, because as somebody really smart said a long time ago, you can't take it with you.
Yeah, yeah, and that leads me to myself as a reader, Ken, and the title. My idea of the title kind of, I started getting different ideas about the title as I was reading the book, because I think, as we look at the title High Finance, one thing may come to mind literally, but what I thought so interesting about Jed's world is that it really does become addictive. To your point that you're making, that it becomes, that's how people, that becomes their their drug of choice, being able to, not being satisfied with what they have, being able to want more, to acquire more, and the way their identity becomes connected to it. And we see that also. Did that make it more fun for you to write this in first person, Ken, to be able to think about what it would be like to be that intoxicated not only by wealth, but also just about, in like you said earlier, greed?
Yeah, well, I also said earlier, New York's the capital of capitalism, and if it had a motto, it would be "Too much ain't enough." I mean, people, you'd be surprised. I mean, people with millions want even more.
Yeah.
And yes, it's fun to do a send up of that. Of course, high finance is a what the French call a double entendre. It refers to the kind of finance where you're doing, multi-billion-dollar mergers, but also the protagonist was high a good portion of the time. So in
Yeah.
that sense, it's high finance too.
Yeah, yeah. Hello to you, Stacy. Good to be to see you over there on Facebook. Hello to you, the Crazy Kirk Girl over there on IG. See you guys over there on YouTube as well. You guys will see, if you're not joining us on the Amazon platform, you'll find a link that will bring you over to Amazon to get Ken's book for yourself. As I mentioned earlier, it is available here in print. You guys can get the Kindle edition. As well as the audio book is available as well. So make sure you guys do take advantage of that. We're going to also let you guys know how to stay connected with Ken too. So Ken, for yourself, I know that this is the first book of others that will come. Did you know when you were writing High Finance that there was more you wanted to explore when it came to fiction?
Well, actually, I'm on the board of a not-for-profit called PEN America, whose purpose it is to protect freedom of expression. And there was a guy on that board with me who actually read a previous novel that I wrote called The Ferret. And I think it's quite good, and I may bring it forth this year, although I have another one that I'm almost done with, which could jump to the front of the line. But this friend who used to be the chair of Hachette said, I guess getting back to your earlier comment about write about what you know, he's like, I think you should come first with high finance because you've got the standing in that world. And so that's what I did.
Yeah.
I think the next one will be maybe a little more commercial and unrelated to Wall Street. But this has gotten a great reception, and it turns out that publishing was as much fun as writing.
Oh, wow. So let's go back a little bit, because I think this is interesting. And you alluded to this in another question I asked you, Ken, because people know you from writing, but they know you from writing nonfiction, right? I mean,
Right.
and so now here you are with a brand new audience when it comes to fiction. What has that been like for you to see not only the response you've gotten with this new community of fiction readers, but also how your fellow fiction authors have responded to your work as well?
Well, I've had some really heartwarming, favorable comments from writers that I admire, and there's nothing like it. I mean, if I have not, I mean, I've had novel writer friends over the years, and it's just great to be seen in a different light by them. Somebody who can tell a story. It's a whole. I mean, and my my friends from Wall Street and the world of finance look kind of askew at me sideways, like, really? You did that? What, are you crazy? And why do you need that? And so forth. I can almost hear my mother asking, why do you need that? But she's not around anymore. But it was something I somehow needed to do. And it's been great to get positive reaction from fellow members of PEN and writer friends from all over the world, as well as readers that I never knew before. This one woman asked to meet me, and we actually met for lunch, and she was fascinating and could be a new friend.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think it goes to not only the power of words, Ken, but also how we can be able to do for one thing, do more than one thing, but also be able to do something whether people think it's something we need to do or not, something that we're passionate about, the joy that can come from that.
For
Um,
sure.
you brought up something interesting about publishing, so I want to go back to that because I love what you said, that the publishing aspect has become just as enjoyable as the writing aspect. I mean, you've been able to see, of course, the changes that are available. As I mentioned, even here, people can literally start reading the book today thanks to the way that you know platforms like Amazon has it set up to get the ebook or start listening to the book. What has that been like for you to see the evolution in the way that we can enjoy books?
Yeah, well, I was told by people in the know that you need to have an audiobook ready at or around the pub date. So
Mhm.
I had to find an actor to read the book. And like me and like the protagonist, he grew up on the south side of Chicago. And
Wow.
so that whole process of producing the audiobook was fun. Reading, getting it published, you have to read a novel more times than you might like
Yeah.
in order to make sure that every punctuation mark is right and every word is just right. So that was there was a little tedium there in the run up to the actual pub date,
Hmm.
as the copy editor and I lobbed comments back and forth. But actually having it out there is is terrific. It's just
Yeah.
fun, and
Yeah.
doing the picking the cover, that part of the creative process was a gas. Getting the blurbs uh, from people I admired was, heartwarming.
Hmm.
So it was the whole, I just made fun of it. I set a very low bar
Hmm.
because I was moving into a whole new world. I thought, as long as you don't embarrass yourself, you can call it a success. And it's been so much better than the low bar. Uh,
Right.
so,
Well, it's a great story, and I think that's the thing, right? And I think that is what makes it so good. Hello to you, Tina. Good to see you over there on Facebook. Glad you could join us as well. And that's why I'm so glad, Ken, as I mentioned, that I had a chance to read the book and now to be able to share with our audience. Again, everyone, Ken Miller has been our guest. His new book is called High Finance. You guys can get it here in print, the Kindle edition, or the audio book as well here on Amazon. If you guys are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube, you'll find the Amazon link there to be able to get the book for yourself. For those of you who are joining us on X, I'll put it in the comment section for you guys, and over there on IG, it'll be in my stories as well. Hello to you, Eric. Good to see you over there on IG. Ken, thank you so much again for stopping by. How can our audience stay connected with you?
well, I have a web page called kenmillerbooks.com, and you can sign up for that. And just one last thing about the book, Cyrus,
Sure. Yeah.
is it's not written in one voice. There are 11
Mhm.
different chapters, and you see the stories told from many different points of view. So
Yeah.
it's simple. You don't need to know anything about finance,
Hmm.
and each story is hopefully a standalone piece of entertainment in and of itself, but they're all interconnected.
Yeah, such a great point. Such a great point. Again, if you're looking for a book that definitely is entertaining, this is a great one to be able to add to your reading list. And Ken, looking forward to our next chat together.
Thanks so much, Cyrus. It was great to be with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.